Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Master English Together. I'm your host, Brandy, and I am so happy you're here with us today.
And I'm Jason. Hey, welcome. We are so excited to have you joining us for another episode of this amazing podcast.
That's right. And if this is your very first time here, welcome to the family. We are so glad you found us. And if you've been with us before, welcome back. We have missed you.
So, Brandy, tell them, what are we going to be doing today? Because I think today's topic is one of the most useful ones we've covered so far.
Oh, I completely agree, Jason. So today we are talking about how to talk about yourself in English. And I know that might sound simple, but honestly, it's one of those things that comes up all the time, whether you're meeting a new friend, starting a new job, or even just chatting at a party.
Exactly, because think about it. The very first thing someone asks you when you meet them is, so, tell me about yourself. And if you don't have the right words ready, it can feel a little awkward, right?
Right, exactly. So we are going to walk you through it all. Your name, where you're from, your job, your family, your hobbies, your pets, the things you love, and even the things you don't love so much. We'll show you real, natural English phrases that you can start using right away.
And we're going to do it the way we always do it, just by having a real, honest conversation. So you can listen in, pick up the phrases, and then use them yourself. That's the beauty of it.
Love it. Okay, but before we jump in, we just want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for watching and for supporting what we do here. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that like button and share this video with your friends. Learning English is so much fun when you do it together.
Yes, truly. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Let's Master English Together. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you're always the first to know when we drop a new episode. We want you to be a part of this wonderful, growing community. Okay, now let's get into the good stuff.
Jason, let's start from the very beginning. How do you introduce your name to someone new?
Great question. So the most common way is to say something like, hi, my name is Jason. Or if it's a little more casual, you can say, hey, I'm Jason. Both are totally fine depending on the situation.
And sometimes people have names that are a little hard to spell or pronounce, right? So it's really helpful to add, you can call me, and then give your nickname or a shorter version. For example, my full name is Brandy, but sometimes people call me Bran, just to keep it simple.
Oh, that's such a good tip. And if someone has trouble spelling your name, you can say something like, my name is Jason. That's Jason. Spelling it out is very helpful, especially at work or when someone needs to write it down.
Exactly. And another great phrase is, people usually call me, or my friends call me. Those sound very natural in conversation. Okay, so Jason, your name is pretty straightforward, but do you have a middle name?
Yes, my full name is Jason Michael Brooks. So if someone asks for my full name, I say, my full name is Jason Michael Brooks. But in everyday life, just Jason is perfectly fine. Nobody really uses all three names unless you're in trouble with your mom.
That is so true. When your mom uses your full name, you know you're in trouble. My full name is Brandy Louise Carter, and I always say, my name is Brandy, but you can call me Bran if you like. It just makes things a little easier and more friendly, you know?
Right. And you know what, learners? Pay attention to these little phrases. My name is, you can call me, my full name is, my friends call me. These are simple but incredibly useful. Practice them.
Great advice. Okay, let's move on. Jason, where are you from? Tell the listeners.
Sure. So I usually say I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. Or sometimes I just say I'm from Atlanta. If someone isn't familiar with the city, I might add it's in the southern part of the U.S. That gives them a little more context, you know?
Oh, Atlanta. That's such a vibrant city. And some other phrases you can use are I grew up in, or I was born in, but I grew up in, because sometimes those are two different places. For example, I might say, I was born in Texas, but I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. And Nashville, oh, I love Nashville.
Nashville, that's the home of country music. So cool. And another useful phrase is, I'm originally from. That word originally tells people where you started, even if you've moved since then. Like, I'm originally from Atlanta, but I've been living in New York for the past 5 years.
Yes. I'm originally from is such a natural phrase. Learners, make sure you add that one to your toolkit. It sounds really fluent and natural. Okay, so next, let's talk about jobs. What do you do, Jason?
So I'm a graphic designer. When someone asks what I do, I usually say I work as a graphic designer or I'm a graphic designer. Both are perfectly natural. And if they want more detail, I might add I design logos, websites, and marketing materials for different companies.
Oh, that's so creative. And what do you love most about your work?
What I love most is the creative freedom. Every project is different, and I get to use my imagination every single day. I usually say, what I love about my job is that no 2 days are the same. That's a great phrase to use when talking about your work, by the way. What I love about my job is.
That is a great phrase. I love that. And for me, I'm a teacher, an English teacher, obviously. So when someone asks, I say, I work as an English teacher or I teach English. And what I love most about my job, I love seeing students grow. There's nothing better than watching someone go from being really nervous about speaking English to suddenly just flowing. It's the best feeling in the world.
Aw, that's so beautiful. And that's why you're so good at what you do, Brandy. You genuinely care. And learners, notice how we said, I work as a, and I love seeing. These are the kinds of phrases that make your English sound smooth and natural. Not my job is teacher, but I work as a teacher. That small difference matters.
Yes, such a good point. Okay, let's talk family now. Siblings. Do you have any brothers or sisters, Jason?
I do. I have one older sister. Her name is Carla. She's 34 years old, so she's 3 years older than me. She works as a pharmacist, and she is honestly the most organized person I have ever met in my life. Like, she has a plan for everything.
The organized one. Every family has one. And what would you say is Carla's best skill?
Oh, without a doubt, she's an incredible problem solver. Like, if something goes wrong, Carla is the person you call. She stays calm, figures it out, and handles it. I really admire that about her. I'd say my sister is really good at staying calm under pressure. That's how you describe someone's best skill. She is really good at something.
I love that. She is really good at perfect phrase. And for me, I have two siblings. I have an older brother named Marcus. He's 30 years old, and he works in IT, information technology. He is absolutely brilliant with computers. Like, if your laptop breaks, Marcus will fix it in 10 minutes flat.
Oh, that's so handy. Is it nice having a tech expert in the family?
The best. I call him every time something goes wrong with my phone, which is more often than I'd like to admit. And then I also have a younger sister. Her name is Sophie. She's 22. She's studying nursing at university, and her best skill? She is the most caring, empathetic person. She really listens when you talk. She makes you feel heard. And that's going to make her an amazing nurse.
Oh, that's wonderful. You know, learners, notice how Brandy said she is the most caring person? That's using a superlative, the most, to really emphasize something great about a person. You can say, he is the funniest person I know, or she is the most hardworking person in our family. These phrases are gold.
Absolutely gold. Okay, now let's talk about our moms. Jason, I'll go first, okay?
Tell us, let's hear it. So, my mom is a nurse. She's been doing it for almost 30 years. She was truly born to do it. She has this incredible ability to make people feel safe and comfortable, even when they're scared or in pain. She just lights up every room she walks into. She's my hero, honestly. And what about your mom, Brandy?
Aw, she lights up a room and she was born to do it. What beautiful phrases. And my mom is a chef. She runs her own small catering business, which she built from scratch. And she is so passionate about food, about flavors, presentation, and the way food brings people together. She always says food is love, and every time she cooks, you can taste it.
Oh, wow. Food is love. She sounds incredible. And learners, she built it from scratch means she started with nothing and created it herself. I built this from scratch. Very useful phrase.
Yes, built from scratch. Love it. Okay, now this is one of my favorite topics, pets. Jason, do you have any pets?
Oh, do I. I have a dog named Bruno. He's a 3-year-old golden retriever, and he is absolutely the goofiest, most lovable animal on the planet. Like he has no idea how big he is. He thinks he's a lapdog. He will try to sit on your lap and he weighs 35 kilos.
A lapdog who does not know he's not a lapdog. I love Bruno already. And how would you describe him to someone who hasn't met him?
I usually say he's playful, energetic, and incredibly affectionate. And then I warn them he will lick your face off the moment he meets you. That's just Bruno. He has zero personal boundaries, but so much love to give. I honestly don't know what I'd do without him.
Aw, so much love to give. That's the best kind of pet. I have a cat named Cleo, short for Cleopatra, and she is the complete opposite of Bruno. She's dramatic, independent, and extremely particular about everything.
Cleopatra. That name is perfect for a dramatic cat.
Right? She acts like the queen of the house, and honestly, she is. She only wants cuddles when she decides it's time, and if you move her off the sofa, she will give you a look that could freeze you solid. But I love her to pieces. I always say, she's a little diva, but she's my diva.
A little diva. I love that. And learners, notice how we described our pets. He's playful and affectionate. She's dramatic and independent. Those adjectives work just as well for describing people. Keep them in mind.
Great point. Okay, now hobbies and favorites. This is so fun. Let's start with food. What is your absolute favorite food, Jason?
Without question, steak. A perfectly cooked steak with garlic butter and roasted vegetables. That is my idea of a perfect meal. I say my all-time favorite food has to be steak. The phrase has to be is a really natural way to express your top choice, by the way.
Has to be. Yes. Okay, mine, mac and cheese. Macaroni and cheese. I know some people think it's a simple dish, but done right, it is the most comforting, delicious thing in the entire world. My mom makes it with 3 different kinds of cheese, and honestly, it is life-changing. I could eat it every single day and never get tired of it.
Oh, wow. Food is love. She sounds incredible. And learners, she built it from scratch means she started with nothing and created it herself. I built this from scratch. Very useful phrase. 3 kinds of cheese. Okay, I need that recipe. And I love how you said done right. That means when it's prepared properly. Done right, it is amazing. Another great expression for everyday English.
Yes, done right, it's everything. Okay, favorite sports. What's yours?
Basketball. I've been playing since I was about 8 years old. I love the energy of the game. It's fast, it's physical, and it's a team sport, which means you have to really communicate and work together. I usually say, I'm really into basketball. The phrase, I'm really into, is great for talking about things you enjoy and are enthusiastic about.
I'm really into, yes. That's such a casual, natural way to say you love something. Mine is swimming. I absolutely love swimming. There's something so calming about being in the water. It clears my head. I always feel better after a swim. I say swimming is my go-to when I need to de-stress. And go-to means your first choice, the thing you always turn to.
My go-to. Brilliant phrase. Super useful in everyday conversations. Coffee is my go-to in the morning. This restaurant is my go-to for date night. So versatile.
Exactly. Okay, and now the really fun part, things we don't like. Because you know what? Talking about yourself also means being honest about what you're not a fan of. Jason, what food do you absolutely cannot stand?
Oh, easy. Liver. I cannot stand liver. The texture, the smell, it's just not for me. I always say I'm not a fan of liver at all, or liver is really not my thing. Those phrases, not a fan of and not my thing, are very polite and natural ways to say you dislike something without sounding too harsh.
Not my thing. Perfect. Mine is bitter melon. My grandmother used to cook it and I would just suffer through it. I'd say bitter melon is definitely not my favorite, or I could really do without bitter melon. That phrase, I could do without, is another great way to express dislike. Very casual and very real.
I could do without it. I'm using that. What about sports you don't enjoy?
Golf. I know. Some people love it, but I just find it too slow for me. I need energy and movement. I might say, golf is not really my kind of sport. I prefer something faster paced. And that phrase, not really my kind of, super useful. You can say, not really my kind of movie, not really my kind of music, very versatile.
Right, right. For me, it's wrestling. I just can't get into it. I'd say, I can't really get into wrestling. It's not something I enjoy watching. And that phrase, I can't get into it, means you've tried, but you just can't find interest or enjoyment in it.
Yes, I can't get into it. Great one. And what about behaviors in other people that you really don't like? I'll go first. I really dislike rudeness. When people are dismissive or unkind, especially to service workers. I'd say one thing I really can't stand is when people are rude to others for no reason. That phrase, I can't stand, is a strong but very natural way to express a dislike.
Ugh, same. That really bothers me too. For me, I really dislike dishonesty. I usually say, I'm not a fan of people who aren't straightforward, or dishonesty is something I really struggle to tolerate. And learners, these phrases for dislikes are really important. In real English conversations, people talk about what they don't like just as often as what they love. It makes you sound much more natural and well-rounded.
Okay, everyone, let's quickly recap the key phrases from today. For introductions, use my name is, you can call me, my full name is, and my friends call me. Simple, natural, and incredibly useful.
For where you're from, use I'm from, I grew up in, and I'm originally from. These give context and make your story more interesting.
When talking about your job, say, I work as, or I'm a, and then explain what you enjoy with what I love about my job is, or what I enjoy most is. Don't just say the job title, add the feeling. It makes the conversation come alive.
For family, use phrases like, she is really good at that, or he is the most, to highlight what makes your family member special, and use she was born to do it, or she lights up a room, when someone is truly passionate about what they do.
And for hobbies and favorites, use these wonderful phrases. My all-time favorite has to be, I'm really into, and my go-to is. These make your English sound natural and make you sound interesting.
And for things you dislike, be polite and natural with phrases like, I'm not a fan of, it's not really my thing, I could do without it, I can't really get into it, and I can't stand it when. These keep you honest without sounding harsh.
And here's my most important piece of advice for all of you. Don't be afraid to talk about yourself in English. Yes, you might make mistakes. We all do. But every time you try, you get better. Confidence comes from doing it, not from waiting until you're perfect. So practice, practice, practice.
That is such powerful advice. And remember, the more you speak, the more natural it becomes. Think of English like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You've got this. We believe in you.
We really do. Before we go, drop a comment below and introduce yourself using today's phrases. Tell us your name, where you're from, and one thing you love. We read every comment, and we'd love to meet you.
And most importantly, keep practicing every single day. Even just 5 or 10 minutes of English practice a day will make a massive difference over time. Don't stop. You are closer to fluency than you think.
I love that so much. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for spending this time with us today. It truly means the world to us. We will be back very soon with another episode of Let's Master English Together. Until then, take care, stay curious, and keep speaking.
See you next time, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Keep practicing. We'll see you soon.